I have no yarn. I have absolutely no yarn. Nope, not a single ball. Nope. What am I gonna do? Hi everyone, it's Anya here and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks. And today I am here with a video talking about... do we really need more yarn? Yes, of course we need more yarn. I can never find the yarn that I need. I have no yarn. I have no yarn. Just like you have nothing to wear, right? You just have not got the yarn for the project. I feel your pain. I can relate. Look, this is my stash and I never have the right yarn that I need. Real quick, before we continue, make sure you are subscribed to my channel, like my content, and do go and have another look at all the videos that I have already published. I have more than 1,000 videos on my channel and I do hope you will find some lovely projects to make. Thank you for being here and back to the video. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks so you do find that yarn that you need. Now, first of all, don't panic and take a bit of time to select a project and see what it is exactly you need for the project. Make sure you are very clear about the thickness of the yarn, DK, Aran, chunky, the composition of the yarn, so cotton, acrylic, etc., and the colour of the yarn. Now, you could change the colour to your liking. That's personal preference. But, of course, you can also make the project in a different type of yarn. So, for instance, if the creator used cotton, you could use acrylic. But, of course, there's a reason for that choice. So only in certain cases, if, for example, you're going to use heat on it, like a hot pot holder, then you will need the cotton. If it's a summer poncho, then it's best to make it in a material that will keep you cool. And of course, you can make a poncho in acrylic and it will keep you warm. Make it in any material you have, but there are reasons why you would need a particular material. Cotton for cool, acrylic, or wool, merino for warmth. So you need to take that into account. What you can't easily change is the thickness of the yarn. So a DK pattern made in a chunky or made in a lace weight will have different measurements, different dimensions when it is finished. So you will need to take that into account. And generally the designer has made that choice for their reasons. And if you change that, really it's your responsibility to make sure you obtain the size that you are happy with. So then look at your stash. No. Don't look at it from afar, okay? Go over to your stash and inspect it. The secret to this is having an organized stash. Organized by thickness, by color, by brand, or whatever you have. But the main thing is you need to organize it. Do not keep things in plastic bags hidden away. Do not put things at the back of the cupboard. Do not hide them at the back of the sofa. Do not keep bags in the trunk of your car hidden away. Because when you come to looking at your stash for a particular project, you will not see those items. They will be hidden and you will think, I have no yarn. Make sure you have your stash organized in a way that you find easy. I personally have it organized by thickness because the two brands of DK that I have, I can mix them up easily. Then I have some Aran yarn, which I keep together. I have some chunky that I have separate as well. And I keep my Aurora in a separate compartment as well. And then of course there's the cotton, which I keep, and then my cotton acrylic, which I also have separate. So it depends on which material I am going to use that I will go to a particular section of my stash, and then I will have all my colours available to me there. Of course, you don't always have all the colours in the range, and this is where my pegs come in handy. I know that my pegs are the full range of those colours and of that particular yarn, so I know which colours there are, and I can add to that choosing from my pegs. So it is really important that you see what you have, or that you know exactly what you have stowed away, for instance in tubs. See-through ones are really great for that. And maybe add a list onto the tub to tell you what is in there. You could also keep a ledger of your stash. The main thing is that you can see in the blink of an eye what you have. If space is an issue, you need to make sure one way or another that you know exactly what you have. My yarn stock here is just one ball deep, so there's nothing behind it, and I know what's there. The glass window is in front of it just to protect them from the dust. And these ones here are all new balls. These ones here in my tower are all used ones. Apart from these, they might be used as well. Oh well. So my tower here does have the smaller amounts, the used balls, and I will always go there first. If I'm trying something out, if I'm starting a big project, I will go to the glass cabinet with the big balls, but if I only need a colour or just a little bit to start something off, then I always go here first. Now the thing is, here there are colours behind one another, they're rolled up, they're stacked. Look, there's loads of stuff behind there as well. It doesn't work so well, okay? You really have to know that that's exactly what is happening in there, okay? But then that is for my used balls. If for a particular project that you're doing, you need a certain set of colours, it's always handy to go for the actual yarn colour pack that the designer might be selling. But if you realise that you have got that particular yarn that this designer is using, and you do find that you have most of the colours in your stash, then it really is worth you just buying the few missing colours from your local shop. This will avoid pricey postage for just a couple of balls. Also, you will be avoiding adding to your stash colours you already have. Now, some people might prefer to have the whole pack ready to go and not use their stash. And of course, that's perfectly fine. And of course, it's an art to use up those leftovers. Make scrap projects. Now, the thing is, there is this concept of the ugly blanket, many call it that, but to be honest, it doesn't have to be ugly. You can still use up your stash and make a beautiful, beautiful blanket or smaller projects. You can of course do the colours in blocks. You can do them in rows, 1 or 2 rows of one colour. You can use double strands for baskets, for instance. You can use an interesting pattern and then each time do 1 row in a colour, and it will make it fabulous. You could make magic cakes and let the colours change themselves. You could use an interesting pattern with that magic cake and you will have a fabulous thing in the end. It doesn't involve necessarily making an ugly blanket. I mean, they are still very, very pretty, and I want to avoid that name. There are no ugly blankets in this world, okay? Now, for example, my mum, when she finishes a blanket, she makes little squares with all her leftovers. And then she puts them in a box, and once in a while she goes and checks the box, and if she thinks she has enough, she will assemble it into a blanket on a rainy day. And that way you have another blanket, another project finished. Now, sometimes for a little square, you don't need more than 10 grams of yarn. So that's not much at all. And so, you know, you can use all those little squares for a bigger project again. And that is the beauty of being able to use our yarn to the full extent of the ball. And also, what fun is it to put all your leftovers in a basket and make sure you find a particular project to do and just blind dip it. And that is such fun, to put all your leftovers together for a particular project and just go for it. Now, there are some yarns and some leftovers that you do need to keep. For instance, that special yarn that you bought for that special shawl that you made. Just keep the little leftover with the label and an indication of the hook, etc. that you used, labelled together in a box, just in case you need to do a repair, or for instance you lose a tassel. Now, in all the years I've never had to do a repair, but you never know. Of course, it is nice to buy a nice looking ball of yarn, and sometimes we all need that retail therapy. But buying yarn without knowing the project you are going to use it for is not always a good idea. Especially if we find it later on in a bag, stuffed behind the sofa, not knowing which project we bought this for. So buying with a project in mind, getting ample yarn to be able to finish the project, yes, with the risk of having leftovers, and putting it away with some sort of note with it of the project that you intend to do with it is better than running out and not being able to find the exact same yarn later on and not knowing what you were going to make with it. These kinds of purchases also need to be displayed nicely along with the rest of your stash, so you see them and you keep being reminded of it, so you will remember to do it. If you want to avoid building up your stash with leftovers or with more and more yarn, then I would suggest, if you're doing a particular project, buy the pack. And I always suggest extra projects alongside a cal, for example, and do those extra projects. That will use up more yarn. Then, for example, from the leftovers then, make some small squares and then keep those in a box and then add to those maybe over the year, and you might at the end of the year have an extra blanket with all the colours from all the cals that you did. Now, any leftovers that are left then, they could be used, for instance, for stuffing something that you might make, like a lavender pillow or a pincushion. If you have any ideas of what to do with those last few short leftovers, then please leave them in the comments box down below. One thing I would say though, please don't put them out for the birds, as they are not a natural material, and if they ingest it, it is not good for them. So leave any comments down below with what you do with your shortest leftovers. Now, if you do happen to run out of a colour and you just have a few more stitches more to do in that particular colour, undo the row and do it again, and you'll find that you might get another 4-5 stitches out of it. But if you only got halfway down the row, you will have to undo the row and substitute it with another colour. You might have another colour that you have more left over from, and you can use that one. It's not going to be the end of the world, and it will make your blanket unique, and it will save you from buying more yarn. So I hope that you have found some tips and tricks in my video today to help you with yarn organisation, making sure you find the yarn that you need, but also only buying what you need and not buy so much that you're overwhelmed with your stash. Oh, this dress? Oh, this old thing? Oh, I found it in the back of my wardrobe. So if you like today's video, please do like and share the video with people who might be able to use all my tips and tricks. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!